Nish, uh, why did you choose to carry the legacy of your father of running a tea company which is 36-year-old?
Sure. Yeah, first of all, Lindsay, amazing story. And Alessio, I think we have so much in similar in terms of doing the things that we're doing. So, couple of things come to mind. The first thing is we take all of our food and beverages for granted. I am guilty of it. I'm sure some of you are, and a majority of the people in the world are. Nobody knows where their beverage, like if you give an example of tea, nobody knows where it's coming from. That's one problem. That in terms of the consumer behavior, what happens is if you don't know where your food or tea, let's say in this case, is coming from, you're essentially allowing unwarranted middlemen to reap the benefits of the farmers. Being in a tea farming family, I've seen firsthand, the tea traders or brokers or middlemen and even executives of tea companies earn millions of dollars, while the farmers, who are the main producers of tea, live for less than $2 a day, which is below the poverty line. And that's around the world in every single major tea producing countries. And that's not fair. And 80% of the value for tea is created in the supply chain with the middlemen. And what we basically do is we cut out all the middlemen, bring our teas directly from our farm, and distribute it to the wholesalers, to the bigger tea companies, which rebrand it sometimes, but most of the time they say where it's coming from, right? At least they have that. So we're cutting out all the middlemen and bringing that chunk to the farmers and improving their living standards. And my vision basically is to get all of the tea farmers, at least in Nepal and some other parts of the world, to get them out of poverty within their generation. And
Excellent.
that might take 10 years, that might take 15, but that's kind of like the vision of the company. And it's just starting with tea, but it can really go on to any other spices or herbs or any other products that you can think of. So that's kind of like the reason that I really decided was to get into this business, was because it's broken. It's I get furious in terms of knowing the whole industry and the big chain that's there, which is so unfair. And that's what I want to solve.
Excellent. I mean, uh, that's a very strong why, Nish. I'm so glad you could carry on your father's legacy, bringing people out of poverty who truly deserve their remuneration, their incentive, their money for growing this fabulous tea. That's a very strong why. Connecting them to that consumers, cutting out the middlemen, is very very noble cause. And while you are serving these people and trying to bring them out of poverty, you will of course thrive. They say if you have a businessman or entrepreneurs like yourself, guys, uh, if you guys are thinking of giving back, for example, all of you are giving back. You're trying to cut middlemen. You're trying to make people happy. Linda is trying to make people happy. Nish is trying to bring out people from poverty. LSU wants the US people to taste the authentic Italian foods and raw materials, and also giving them recipes how to use those. If we know our why very well, and if we have the objective of giving back to the people we are using in our ecosystem, the stakeholders, the farmers, the people are producing these things, a very strong why, a very strong vision helps us go a long way. I'm so glad I'm with the panel who have excellent and very strong vision and a very strong why. Thank you very much for coming over. So Nish, we didn't talk about your sales channel. So you're talking about wholesale and big tea companies. What about online?
Yeah, so a couple of things. What we were basically almost like 70% wholesale until the pandemic. So that was our basic business model. We were supplying directly to tea shops and tea bars so that they could actually brew the tea and serve to customers, talking about the story and talking about those teas. We were not really focused on direct to consumers, but that was our end goal. That has always been our end goal, right? So we were kind of funding the direct to consumers model through our wholesale business. But pandemic hit, 80% of the wholesale customers, they paused basically because they were just not able to open. That gave us a little more time and energy to actually focus on direct to consumers. And the response has been amazing. We tripled our sales on direct to consumers just within those pandemic time, within like the 3 months. And that gave us a validation saying, hey, this is actually, we need to pursue this even more aggressive. And that's where we are going right now. Currently, you could say about 60% of the sales is still through wholesale, but 40% would be direct to consumers.
Okay, so that's online Shopify.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. One of my friends was having